Hiya guys, I'm Ben.
Hi, I'm Mark.
Hello, I'm Jamie, and this is Through the Garden Gate.
Hello, Instagram. It's Tuesday night, it's 7:30. It's time for another episode of Through the Garden Gate. Let's see if the boys are about and get them in first.
Morning.
Can you see me?
Nope. I could see you before I joined.
That's weird.
We love it.
Jamie,
We love it.
Or is Jamie being the garden grand ball tonight?
I don't know, mate. I doubt it. That's going to be Catherine, isn't it?
Catherine's in here as well.
But she's on like multi things though, isn't she? She's all over the place.
Is she?
Hey boys. Hi Steph. How you doing?
Can we get Jamie in? Or is he? Is Jamie garden grand ball because he said I'm here? Or is that just
Jamie, he's in. He's just come in now, mate.
Is he?
Yeah.
Sounds like rain.
Hey.
Raining. Jamie's inside.
I had to.
Real.
I had to.
Not throwing it down.
Not because it's just the wind. I wouldn't have heard anybody, and you wouldn't have heard me. It'd have been absolutely ridiculous. It's so windy.
Can you guys actually hear me all right? Because it's blowing a hoolie out here.
Yeah, to be honest, yeah.
I mean, this thing's shaking like hell, but I'm all right.
Oh, I really hope that don't all collapse on you where you're on your
I hope it does. If it's on video, that'd be a right result. I'll have content for days.
Like
That would be quite funny, to be honest.
It'd be great. I missed.
Not for you.
Probably wouldn't be too impressed that the greenhouse has gone to bits, but.
JJ, how do?
JJ, hi Dan.
I'm a bit hot, to be honest.
Yeah, I am actually.
I'm not used to being indoors on up to 7 on a Tuesday. I have got this cup tonight, a peachy one.
Oh, see,
I don't know what January.
I've got my little food company one today. I did it on purpose because Kerry never puts that on the bingo card, see?
No, she just puts merch, and that's you.
Everywhere else today, huh? Too busy shooting a few reels before I started.
What have you been doing, Mark? What have you been falling over and hurting yourself with Wally?
Oh, it's not good. It's a good job I'm not permanently broken because it could have been.
Oh, God.
I was really sympathetic, mate.
Yeah, you were.
I think we all were, to be honest.
Poor shoulder.
Did you land straight on it?
No, I slipped and then grabbed hold of the wheelie bin and then sort of slipped some more and twisted my whole arm. And it was like twisted my shoulder.
Oh.
So I think I probably would have been better just going over.
Yeah, you probably would have done. Anyone else love Elton John? I don't mind Elton John.
Can you feel the love tonight? I've got them all. Was that
my glasses are
ouch
steaming
for
up in the
Elton?
house.
Ouch for Elton John comments, or was that ouch for Mark falling over?
That's ouch for Mark, I would imagine.
Oh.
Any gardening going on this week?
Only at work.
Hello, Kim. You joined us for a change.
I'm a bit disappointed you're not dressed up, Jamie. I mean, you dress up for the girls and we get you in your hoodie.
Well, I'll tell you what. About 6:45, they both sent me pictures of them in sparkly dress, and I went, "What?" I was just in a rubbish old jumper, and I thought, "Oh." And then they both got glasses of fizz, and I went, "Oh no, I better go and have some." Luckily, Teresa just opened a bottle, so I just nicked half a glass. Oh dear!
They are
Oh dear! Never mind.
monsters.
They are very.
Oh, the
Had no choice.
messy gardeners in.
But then, who did you see? Who else come in with a glass of fizz? See?
Well,
Yeah.
I expected nothing else.
Right. Who's our guest tonight, Mark?
I don't know whether he's in yet. If it's
He is.
anybody.
I've
Yeah,
seen
he
him.
is.
Yeah, I've seen him. He's been talking about Elton John.
How is he?
Yeah.
I'll do an intro then. So, tonight's guest is a career changer, a rose collector, a new build gardener, green-fingered ambassador, a plant grow champion, a charity walker. His voice has been compared to Alan Titchmarsh, former town planner, an Easton walled gardener, an autism advocate, my real gardener, a garden media gilder, a mini driver, a car lover, a keeping up appearances, winner of the Unofficial Garden Awards 2023, a van driver, a human. I can't believe he's here. It's Groovy Gardener Chris.
You must have needed a scroll for that.
Oh wow!
He's done a lot of stuff, that lad.
Yes. Yes.
And he's only 20.
Hello.
There he is.
I'm here.
Hello, mate.
Good evening from the office.
How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. I am, to quote Elton, I did put it on the comments earlier. I am just about still standing. It's been one of those days, but it'll be a joyous evening. I'm sure, between us all. And like a modern progressive individual, I've got my little sherry glass out.
Perfect. That's the
Never
thing.
mind.
You can always enjoy your evenings a lot better, I think, if you've had a rubbish day.
Ah, dear me, tell me about it.
Yeah.
Yes, that was an intro and a half. Thank you, Mark. I'm
It
humbled.
was.
Crikey.
It was
Definitely
amazing,
deserve
wasn't it?
Crikey. I'm just going, stop! Just that, please, move on. Very kind. Very kind.
What did you say, Mark?
Very
Sorry?
I said we've all seen your trophy cabinet on Instagram, so you can't.
I'm going to have a look at that because I haven't seen his trophy cabinet. I'd have to check that out now.
Particularly like the keeping up appearances reference. That was quite amusing. Yeah. There's nothing special. It's just a cabinet, an IKEA cabinet that has blood ramble in it, basically.
Stop playing it down, Chris.
No. No. Take it. Take the compliments.
How are we all? Are we okay?
Yeah, well, I'm all right.
Yeah.
Same
Good
old.
here.
Apart from my
Still
shoulder.
January.
Good.
Yeah, well, plenty busy enough, though, despite it being January.
It's got to be
Yeah.
one of the fastest going Januaries I've ever known, to be honest.
Do you think?
Which is quite a rare one, because usually I'm like, come on, February.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm doing at the minute. I'm just, dragon. Horrible.
Yeah, it's going quite slowly here. Looking forward to it, that's for sure.
The weather's been shocking, and it's shocking out there today. Absolutely terrible.
Absolutely. I'm completely blowing a hula. And I've been clearing pine needles off that have kind of been sat there for years today. They're just sort of sunken in. They don't really rot very quickly, do they? So it's just been horrible. It's like a piney sludge today. Not the most glamorous job.
Oh, no, definitely not. Definitely
No.
not.
I know, but tomorrow going to be garden designing, getting the A3 paper out, drawing, sketching, etc.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, not too bad for Wednesday.
Lovely. Have you done much of that before, Chris?
No end. I think it's a news development, really. I mean, the RHS qualifications that I partly did helped with that, such as site surveying and understanding the kind of space and measuring, properly doing technical drawings and so forth. I've done planting schemes, but I haven't kind of merged the full together in a kind of vision board that, say, a garden designer would do. So I'm seeking to in some senses self-teach myself, and in other ways get the reading material back out again and use that to advantage. So that's going to be for a garden that's at Autism East Midlands garden, in an Edwardian garden that's got basically would have been a villa house, I suppose, at the posh end of town, and it's now used as a respite home, but it's got 4 different gardens that all drop down one from the other in the terrace. It's quite a large garden, and it's been left, it's not completely unkempt, it's not overgrown, but it's got lots of potential, lots of beauty to it. So it'd be good to get that creative flair on tomorrow.
That's fantastic.
Absolutely. Yeah, fingers crossed. Hopefully that's the sort of thing that now brings certainly me to my best. I mean, where would you say would bring your kind of gardening mojo to your best if you were really given your absolute ideal scenario and you could just sort of blast it for the day? What would be your choice? Because I think I don't want to be a garden designer. I'd like still to be out and about there, but certainly the planting scheme is something that I'm quite enjoying. Yeah. I would still pick. I would still probably pick that coordination, physical coordination of a garden over an actual drawing of it any day. Personally, as much as tomorrow will be enjoyable, I like putting the combinations together and photographically, I suppose, imagining it and then getting it down into the physical. Digging of it and making sure you do damn right what you promised to.
You never stick to a plan anyway.
Well, no. Especially not when you buy extra plants. We'll sneak a few extra plants.
I think because I'm still a fairly new gardener. I'm lockdown gardener. I'll always say that. I didn't do anything before lockdown. Cut the lawn, that was it. So, and I still love my allotment. I've started doing a few plants, flowers and things this last year or so, but I still love my allotment. And I would love to work in a big walled garden. I would love that. That would be just a dream. I would enjoy going to work. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. But obviously I work in one, but only a couple of days a week. But that was the same aspiration. Same as you though, lockdown gardener as well. Yeah. No prior involvement or willingness to do anything horticultural, really.
But when we went to Audley End, and we came and met you and saw Kim's garden. The walled garden there, the kitchen garden there is lovely. I like that one. You said to me, Mark, didn't you? Make sure you get over there. Yeah, that was really nice.
Missed it. We only saw it on the way out.
I wouldn't have even known unless you told me. Yeah. You actually said, make sure you go and see it. But I love that.
It's quite a far away, isn't it? Because I remember there's another contact on here that you can find here on Instagram. She's well known in RHS circles as she's an author. Tam's in Westhorpe. She's an RHS judge as well. Yeah. And you can follow her if you don't already at Stocktonbury Gardens. Now she was doing tours of that walled garden on that very day, and I not made a prior arrangement. I never met her actually yet. I've read a book and we contact each other quite regularly. We never got a chance to meet in person. But I remember trying to make the effort to just see if I could catch her in the walled garden at some point, just to, as we often do, try and sort of either say hello or I don't know, photo bomb her guided tour or something. Because that would be something I'd do. But I honestly, I forgot, didn't appreciate how far away it was. Did get there, but was practically late for Kim, poor Kim, waiting around wondering where the heck I was on my return. I'd said, I was going for lunch for 10 minutes and then coming half an hour later, 40 minutes. I just striking. But then I did do Kim's garden a good service by rousing the troops to come to the garden. Of course, it was a fabulous day. And a great garden. Never been there before.
No, it was really.
I'd quite like to go without the show on, just to have a really good look around.
Proper look,
to all of it, really.
The shows do take your eye away a bit, I suppose, don't they?
Yeah, definitely. It's not far from you either.
It's a frenzy. It could do with being a few extra days longer, and we all have the benefit of being able to go if we could all afford to sort of stay overnight after night, because it's such a whirlwind. It's a social frenzy and a positive one at that. It's lovely, enriching ourselves with one another and chatting away and wandering, taking lunch together. But then talking of whether January's got bigger, got faster, or is slow, something just seems to whiz along 3 times faster the minute that you enter the show entrance. And then before you know it, it's about 4 o'clock, and there's sort of the queue merging to get out. And it's not enough, even for the small shows. Audley End's not classified as a big show, but there's more than enough to go on, because there's the contacts that you three all, in your respective positions on here and elsewhere. You develop those networks. People start to recognise who you are, and I'm not one to sort of, I am one to talk anyway, but not want to give people that time. And you just don't. I never look at a watch and don't look at the phone. There's my partner messaging, "Have you got there all right?" And I've forgotten to do that, because you just go into the show and you forget. I'd be quite ignorant, really. Poor Jonathan, he probably thinks I'm stranded somewhere, but you do, because you forget your kind of routines and commitments to one another in the excitement of the day, really. And when's your next shows then? You've got, but apart from Garden Grand Ball aside, we all know about that hottest event of the year. But running further down the calendar and the pecking order, what else have we got lined up?
I've got the press event first.
Oh yes,
in February.
Yeah, I'm hoping
to go there.
That one.
Yeah.
It's proving tricky for us. Mark will know this because we've been direct messaging one another, and the cards are still open, Mark, actually, if you want to try and get the same train. We've got anybody who's wanted to travel to King's Cross, don't bother, because it's shut.
I'll go to Liverpool Street.
I don't think I've ever been there. I suppose it's because it covers East Anglia, doesn't it? I think.
Yeah, I've never been to, but I think that's the only place I can get, unless it's some really random time of a train. I think there's a couple go through, but
do you not
have to be Liverpool?
When we go from King's Lynn, would it be way on?
Yeah, King's Lynn straight through to King's Cross.
Yeah, it's right pain. But so we're saying pancreasing probably, but what that tends to mean is that'll be 50 quid more, please.
Possible, yeah.
But it's half an hour slower, or you can't work it out.
Catherine's just said hers goes straight from Lincoln, but it's 3 hours.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah, Catherine's on the once a day direct service from Lincoln to Newark. Train buff here.
See, I'm looking at driving to Worcester and literally meeting up with a beard of growers and going in with them.
I think
because getting a train from Bristol was just a nightmare, and I thought just as well go with people I know than drive for an hour.
A really good day of it. Make a good road trip of it. I mean, that's something that Mark and I we've mulled over it, at least for part of the way, haven't we? Because I looked at Catherine's train, but they wanted £136 from Newark for the privilege for me to go on that very day. Catherine's either doing very well for herself at the moment, or she's booked very, very early.
She did book. She booked about a month ago.
Ah, well, they've been faffing about in sort of sending all these emails through that sort of imply that you've got a ticket, but there's still not one out that does properly say that you've got one.
But they did ask. They did ask me if I want hot or cold food, so I suppose that.
Well,
means...
but I'm certainly the job that you have to give 3 weeks' notice for leave requests. I mean, I've had the day taken up now, but there's lots of things going round. So Catherine got in early. She says.
Yeah, she did. I'm looking forward to that.
These are the exhibitors that are going to be there. This is. Would you like hot or cold food? But no one's actually said, "Yeah, you're coming."
Well, I actually.
I assume a lot anyway, so I'm just assuming I'm allowed in.
Look, for all I went last year, but for all we know, it could be, here's your sandwich, but your bar. Love to see that.
Worst case, Jamie, stick some wire cutters in your pocket. We'll go in as electricians on standby.
All we need is a high vis and a hard hat, and a clipboard, and they'll let you through anyway.
We'll be in. Be fine. Sorry, we forgot to pick our passes up.
Exactly. Exactly, Kim. Yes, Kim will fight away, and she'll just say, "Do you know who I am?"
I'm coming anyway, ticket or no ticket. Well, Kim and I met for the first time at last year's Garden Press event, and she was sort of waiting. Where it looked to the right, and then there was this face, sort of totally fangirling, sort of looking face, and then we just gave each other a big hug, and we sort of chatted from there. And it was really. I felt very daunted going in because it was the first time, and you just walk into this big atrium. But then it all trickles down. The minute you see somebody that you recognise, all of that goes, because that doesn't matter. Then it's going to be really engaging, and it is a very good chance to chat with the network, professional network, the businesses themselves. There's a lot of those that would be familiar with, and they're all really good, friendly people. And obviously there might be some opportunities for us personally and professionally that come out of it. Obviously a bonus, but it's a great day. If you can make the full breadth of the day, I would recommend if you can hang on right through to the end. And there is usually an unofficial drinks afterwards. There was last year down the road.
All right. Okay.
In the pub.
Okay. Keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on the last train then.
That's the thing, isn't it?
It's the last train.
Where does it go from? We won't know.
I mean, who knows? It's probably a replacement bus / helicopter / barge / walking opportunities to get home at the end.
No,
we'll get home eventually.
I'll fall asleep and end up in Carmarthen or something.
I'm all right.
I did it before.
Have you done that? Has anybody ever done that?
I jumped on a train. I jumped on a train from Bournemouth to Dorchester and ended up in Weymouth. At the last stop, they woke me up.
Yeah, they're cleaning the train, sort of, excuse me, please, So any rubbish, and they try to grab you from the train, when they grab the bag, they try and grab you.
I was quite lucky that my brother lived there at the time, so I just crashed for a night and then went back the next day.
Then perfect.
I haven't done that on a train. I have nodded off on a bus as a student. I was a Sheffield University student, and I remember going out one evening, and yes, I was hungover, and that hangover / probably still under the influence moment did cause me to get on an early morning bus, and I had the brilliant idea. I thought I normally do my food shop by going by bus at the time, so I thought, I'll go and get my food shop done. I went to Morrison's, which was in Hillsborough, but I got the bus the opposite side of the road to what I expected to, and the bus went to, even though it's called Halfway, there's a commuter area of Sheffield called Halfway, but it isn't halfway at all. It's sort of an hour outside of Sheffield to the south of it, near the motorway. It's at the end of the park and ride in the tram. Anyway, I nodded off, going on the right numbered bus, but in totally the wrong direction, for a totally unnecessary trip whilst hungover / still under the influence, and ended up right to the end and had nodded off on that bus and got to the very end, and it was in the middle of nowhere in this park and ride car park for an hour then, just doing nothing.
I've never done that.
So, look after me, please. Make sure I get that train home.
Of course.
Swap tickets with someone else and send them elsewhere. Just going to end up anywhere.
I'll be well behaved at Grand Ball anyway.
I hope you're not.
I'll do my best.
No one's allowed to behave at the ball.
Chris.
Yeah, I was going to say. I think the press event's going to be a good little taster of getting to meet a few people first before we all head into a big disco together.
That's true. And you will find people are as they are on here, because this is the outlet where we find that we can be the outlet to, I suppose, the real us in a lot of ways. Yeah. You won't be shocked by that, I don't think, if it's the first time. But also you get to know other people in the media. So of course you've got the Garden Media Guild there; they will be having a stand. So you get to meet people that you won't necessarily see always at shows, like garden photographers, or you'll see authors there.
Yeah.
Unless you go to, say, the awards, where you might be ending up being on a formal table drinks reception with those types of individuals, you'll have people that write for the magazines and the newspapers. It's great for that as well, for that context. And you know, that as I say, personal development from there, from the work that you know, certainly you three do, let alone me.
I can't wait.
You know, to forge something off that, a project opportunity for a few of us would be welcome. But yeah, and then free food, technically, yeah, and some freebies, perhaps.
Yeah, got to have some freebies. I love a freebie. Ben loves a freebie.
You don't make it out like I'm some sort of magpie, I tell you.
To be honest, it's Kerry that always says about you and freebies and merch and God knows what. We just jump on her. We jump on her bandwagon.
These hawks in the supermarket, yellow sticker aisles, then sort of, you know, the poor member of staff is trying to put the yellow sticker on, and there's somebody sort of literally enveloping their entire body to look down them.
Tell him to give me the gun. I'll do that. I go out most nights and do too good to go things and stuff like that. I love it. Absolutely love it. I'm
totally with you on that. You know, I'm notoriously bad. Although I'm not. I stopped short of pushing the poor member of staff over. Oh, yeah, I'll have your machine. I'll make it all 20p.
I love watching them when there's 2 or 3 different people standing there and they're all eyeing it up at the same time. I think it's brilliant.
I can't be bothered with that. I'm like, you know what? No. I'm not dealing with that. I'm all up for saving food and everything like that, but you know, it just comes from being a chef for years. And we used to run a carvery in the hotel we ran, and at the end of the day, all the staff ate for free. It was like, it's there, help yourself if you want it. But too good to go wasn't really a thing then. And now, if I had that, I could have got rid of so much food so cheap. But we had loads of people that used to come in and say, do you want us to sweep the car park when it was snowy and that. All those guys always got a meal out of it and stuff. It was only going to go in the bin otherwise. So, too good to go. Brilliant.
Well, it's too good to
absolutely brilliant.
Go. Is that the little fridge with all the stickers on?
So no, it's an app. So you can go on the app and it comes up with, like, say, Greg's and places like that have got sausage rolls and stuff, but you don't know what you're going to get. Basically, they call it a magic bag. So you pay like £2.29. Like, there's a cake place by us, absolutely amazing. The cake's massive, and normally it's £6 each. Now we pay £2.29, and you go up there at 9:30 at night, and you pick up 2 slices, and that does all 4 of us. You know,
we don't get that in Norfolk.
No, even up near Worksop, we've still got, you know, electricity by button and coin operation up here. It's parts of Britain.
It's all very new to me, coming from the New Forest, that I can get McDonald's delivered. To be honest,
when we go into the supermarket and go to the deli counter, we still have to pull off a little ticket and stand and wait.
No, that's just you, mate. They make you do that.
I don't mind.
Do you still go around with a little mini trolley with a flag on it, Jamie? You know, you can fit about 2 items in it. But yeah.
If he's really good, they let him take the little Tykes one.
What?
Seriously, Ben. I mean, we're only 13 miles from Sheffield, so we should be near civilization to have apps. Well, you can have an app for everything, let's be honest. But the phone's on a tripod to talk to you at the moment, but I will have a look later. I didn't realise it was an app thing. I thought it was just something branches did willingly to get rid of stock, and they had like a what is it? Like an approved list of, I suppose, suppliers that they then took that to. I didn't realise it was app-based.
It's an app. It is brilliant. If you're into saving food and saving money and everything, it's fantastic. I mean, we're a single income family. I'm a stay-at-home dad, so it's our way of just, like, we can plan lunches. Like, we've got a local bakery to us, And we go in there and we think we spend like £4, but we come out with baguettes, sandwiches, everything. And that does our lunches for the next couple of days.
Oh.
It's mental. And if you catch the right days, brilliant. You get loaves of bread, all sorts.
It's not just the big supermarket.
No.
It's any little shop can go.
Anyone can do it.
Right.
I went to a little
I've never heard
cafe the other day. It was amazing. I walked in and I smelt the coffee and I nearly stayed for a coffee. If it wasn't for the fact I was parked on double yellows, I definitely would have stayed for a coffee. It was stunning. But they do all sorts of it. I'll start posting it to my stories when I do it. So you can have a look.
Yeah, just see what you get. That'd be interesting.
Do that when I have a look.
Yeah, it's really
Have
good.
a look at that off the back of this. I mean, and it's ethical, isn't it?
I will download that. When we're finished, I'll download it and have a look.
And there is place in greengrocers and places like that you can go, and they call it like a soup box, but it's not. It's got fruit, veg, everything you can imagine in it. Garlic, potatoes, bananas. That's so much stuff, and it just saves. So it's brilliant. I love it. So yeah, Aldi do it. I did Aldi the other day actually. Got a huge box full from Aldi for like £3.
What? I'm doing.
Did they do it with plant? Well, obviously, plant-based foods are applicable.
I haven't had any plants yet, but
wouldn't it be great? You know, when you do go into a garden centre and you do have the clearance or the kind of plant rescue section is what I like to see, because you know that the plant looks absolutely knackered. It's not just dormant. You cannot literally see any sign of life. But you've got to a point in your experience where you think, well, actually, I do know there will be some sign of life. You've got to that stage where you can recognise that, or you've got a stage where you can look at the roots and you can think, oh, I can split that into 5 from here. You just know. But it's also what I'd love to see from that rescue section is a sort of knowledge of when they put those plants out, like they do at the supermarket. And you get an inkling that the sort of stickers come out at 5 p.m. I'd like to see more of that in garden centres. You know, if they're open till 6, make it a bit more of a routine thing that clearance starts to be supplemented. I mean, and people like us will be in frothing at the mouth at the doorway.
Yeah, B&M just as well put theirs on sale the minute they go in. Have you ever seen anything that B&M got growing?
Well, I'm not conflicted anymore, but I was a household of another very well-known retail chain that recently went bankrupt, and for that reason we didn't really go in B&M very often, but I'm not conflicted anymore.
No, some of them, you walk in there and it's like, what state did these come in? How long have they been here? And has anyone actually thought to water them in the 6 months they've been on that shelf?
And then they often get crushed, and then they're in the sort of sad state of both the shade of the warehouse and where they've been sat for days on end, so they've had no light there. But then they also get sat underneath the staging themselves, even in a light location, provides a heck of a lot of shading. So they're not really being lit, unless they're being put
Only
outside.
the top ones that ever get any light.
Yeah.
Because they normally
they'll do it.
Not the shelves and then all the plastic boxes on the top of all the shelves, and everywhere.
I went to B&M. It was way back in the summer, and there was a woman outside watering the can't remember what plants they were, but she was watering them all anyway. And I started talking to her about it, and she does a lot of gardening herself. It just happens to be she's now been put in charge of the B&M plants in that shop. And I started talking to her about what happens to them afterwards. She said, "Oh yeah, we can reduce them, but then we have to throw them. They have to go in the skip out the back." But she says she goes in and she, not for the plants because the plants are knackered, but she says that compost in them pots has been in there for a week. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with the compost. So she just gets rid of the plant and just bags up the compost and takes all this lovely compost home.
Okay.
Yeah. But they just throw trolleys and trolleys full of them away.
It's crazy. Why not just give them away?
Yeah, exactly. Well, because everybody like us will be waiting for it. Go, oh, I'll have it now.
It's a shame, isn't it? It's a huge shame. I mean, technically speaking, Wilco haven't gone bankrupt because they are back, and they are back with a vengeance. They are going to be back. They've got 4 stores open now, and they're going to be opening 40 or something this year. So they're back. B&M. I mean, Poundland sell plants, but not that many. We haven't got that much choice really in the mainstream anymore. What was what you saw, Mark? I saw in your stories earlier about the planters from B&Q. So I was in B&Q today. Do you know what? I'm like this with shopping the supermarket. I get ever so heavily intimidated by branches of supermarkets and DIY stores and equivalent that are too big. Sort of real big. I sound so rural now. I think I should live nearer you, Jamie, again. I do live in a village in Nottinghamshire, to be fair, but the bypass is half a mile away, so I can't say it's rural. But our branch in B&Q is just right. You know where everything is. I also stand about 85, but there we go. We'll keep running with this. But then you go into this other one, and you're literally just after, what was I after? Those tote bags, basically, to fill with builder's rubble or grass cutting, whatever. And I couldn't find them. I had to end up with rubble sacks in the big one in the end. I mean, I did ask a member of staff, but they directed me to the wrong place. But it's just too much. It's too much. And so it's so intimidating that, personally, I'm the sort of person that would buy less and spend less in that sort of branch because I get fed up of wandering around aimlessly. Even in the plant section, it's too bewildering. Whereas that just sort of more compact one. Oh, there we are. But what's these planters? Because the moral of my story after that very long waffle about supermarket sizing is that and sorry for that for those of us watching as the numbers deplete as I waffle. The planters weren't in our small store.
No, they weren't in the one in Scunthorpe either. They're like the corrugated.
Yeah, you have to go to Scunthorpe for you.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Another affliction I've put myself through today. To be fair, it was better than being outside in the rain.
That's true. That's true. There's still time, Lottie. Just seen your comment about drinks bingo. Look, I've got here, talking of being 85, the Madeira wine has come out this evening. There's plenty of time.
I'm on whiskey tonight.
No comment.
Whiskey? Look at it. Look at all you changing. I'm on coffee.
Well, this whiskey is called Monkey Shoulder, so I figure out that it'll help my shoulder, won't it?
I've run out.
We had on the bingo. We had tomatoes, chickens, greenfingers.
Yeah.
I seem to recall was on there.
Plant grow was on there. The garden ground ball was on there.
Chickens.
Spot the difference was on there.
Oh, I didn't do that yet.
Yeah.
I didn't write them down.
Come on.
I remember them.
That spot the difference has gone crazy today. It's brilliant. It's lovely.
I'm going to do the spot the difference like the generation game. I've remembered.
Come on then, have one each.
I'll let them go first.
Hortus, what's it called? Hortus Pocus or something. I've got the book.
Curious.
Sorry.
That's the one. Focus by Clarky. He's having that one.
Yeah.
That's the second one. Focus. The only thing I saw, Jamie, was the wool pots.
Wool pots went
2
missing. Yeah.
Mark.
2.
No idea.
Ben, come on.
The trowel and the hori knife at the top. The wire
round wrong way.
brush.
Yeah.
I think it was the wire brush on the desk was the other way around. Or was it?
It wasn't a wire brush.
Brush.
It was just a brush. Yeah.
And
handles.
Yeah. Hang on. That one. Bear in mind, I'm doing this from memory as well.
But the brush was one of 2, so whatever was underneath the brush changed as well.
Yeah. I remember it was all quite close together because I thought the compost bag would have been turned around to the front or back. That was the sort of stupid stuff I would have done. The plant feed.
Yeah,
that was
smart.
That was
the plant grow tomato food.
That was at the back. Next to Hocus Pocus.
I'm going to have to tell him. I will tell Michael that now. I'll message him later.
I think what you should do is edit the cover first and actually do a little Photoshop jobby of it first.
There must be a photo.
And then send it to him.
Well, yes, look, it's just a signed edition there. I think he will sign them.
I'm
He'll
signed.
sign Hocus
them out.
Pocus Harry Potter, I reckon.
Yeah, I'll go back. I'll bring it back to him when I next see him, and I'll go, can you just add that extra title, please, to there? I made it my own. But I'm just reading about all the plants in there. I mean, fancy being able to go into your local nursery, you know, that's been owned by Mr. and Mrs. Smiggins for 85 years.
Yeah.
And then you go,
Yes.
can I have
Terry.
a clitoria tenatia, please, which is the vulval part. I mean, how's that going to work?
Or a gimpy.
Exactly. How's that going to work?
What's it called? Gimpy Gimpy.
Yeah.
Most poisonous plant in the world. If you get,
It's brilliant.
I've got the book, but I haven't seen it. Wait there, I'm going to get mine.
In your hand.
It is actually, no, it's very well written, the book. It's really, honestly,
Really
it's
well
very good material. And I rather liked it. I bought it at Harrogate Fire Show, and there it was talking there actually. But there's just some really unusual. I mean, totally far removed from the sorts of plants that are in this garden, but also the plants that are in the kind of in the brain. Basically, anything that I've learned about, literally everything is pretty much new to my kind of knowledge in here. So for that reason, it's been a useful book. There we go.
Very curious. Mr. Plant Geek. I haven't actually opened it yet. I've been too busy.
Did we get commissions on the sales after he come on as a guest?
Right.
We should have, because he sold loads.
Flogged a few, didn't he?
He did. He really did.
Good. It's a great book.
Yes, did you write that in your contract?
That. Big
Oh, you like?
Sorry, I started this with all this talk about. I don't know why it's coming from me talking about clitoria tenatia. Nobody wants on me, but there we go.
Oh, dearie me.
Sorry, I brought the house down. Shocking.
At least we're talking about gardening.
Exactly.
Sorry.
So let's get it back on track by asking
Yes.
Chris about the Garden Grand Ball's special guest speaker.
Oh.
Because you are the font of knowledge, Chris. Let everybody know who maybe doesn't know who
What did you think on
is.
Sunday night?
Super. Well, I mean, I twigged it when it went to TV presenter, and I thought, okie dokie, because of the link with Greenfingers, and I've got to know the speaker very well anyway now. Great supporter of what I do, friend of mine. So to have Anne-Marie Powell, yeah, marvellous. You couldn't have a better champ in there. She'll do the event, the charity, but also the in terms of the wording and her whole body language, it cascades down. That's the whole thing with the My Real Garden movement. You know, that was just willingly created. But there's a sincerity there in her stature. It's not just about, oh, we've got this well-known figure. You know, why is that person well-known? Well, actually, it's quite a humble, sincere reason why that person is well-known.
Yeah.
And they're relatively modest, really, and that's for somebody who will, as Anne-Marie would be happy for me to say, is very gregarious, outgoing, not shy. She'll say so herself, but happens to also be quite humble in so many ways, in kind of trickling down the message to anybody without aspersion, and I think that's a really good thing, and that's why it works so well that she's gone and succeeded in her career in these ways as a presenter on TV. You have to be a certain sort of stance to be successful on that, I should think, to resonate with your audience. But you also, to be a figurehead for a charity, you know, you've got to have a certain conviction about you. I'm really pleased. It'll be lovely to see her again. And as she concurred on the video, and actually another story, and she didn't mention it, when she went to school near the Garden Grand Ball location, but she also lived the next village to where I live now, because as an army, she was an army daughter. So I think she lived in quite a few places this part of the country. So, we've got to know each other through various kind of links. So yeah, I'm sure we'll all be having a bit of a dance with Anne-Marie on the night.
Definitely, it's going to be brilliant. And you first really got to know her with the My Real Garden thing, didn't you?
Yes. So the garden, so Groovy Gardening was set up January. It's only just gone through 3 years actually. January 2021, and Anne-Marie Powell was both the first. We talk about figurehead, the first person that was well known in the gardening world. She was the first person that I suppose was interviewed by, and we did a live like we are. She was in her garden. She did the Sunday Social live, and she used to do lives with people in their own gardens. And there were about 3 or 4 of us in a row that were lined up to speak with her, and we got to show off our gardens and what our plans were and ambitions for life, etc. And that was February 2021, and she was the first person in that kind of figurehead capacity that I intimated that I wanted to do this a little bit more, progress it from a hobby, see where it takes me, retrain. And she really just sort of gave that conviction. She'd seen the garden, she'd seen the way I'd laid it out, she still saw the sort of words that I was using and the conviction that I suppose I came across in a certain way to make her feel that she could have confidence.
Yeah.
And even if it wasn't at that stage, she didn't know me from Adam, I didn't know her, but the message that she gave was of confidence that was enough for me to sort of trickle down into finding out voluntary work and career progression, and you name it.
Yeah.
But we've since gone on to do quite a lot. We both work for Greenfingers. We've been at Chelsea Flower Show. She's been designing. I've just been visiting and socialising, or been representing some of the suppliers for the show or whatever. And some of the other garden shows. We've been at the Garden Media Guild Awards. I've been to see her gardens that she designed at Wisley and the World Food Garden and so forth. So it's been really nice, and the whole movement. People have met each other, been on holiday with one another. I've been on holiday with fellow My Real gardeners, and it always seems to send back to this lady, of course.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I knew who she was before we knew she was going to be our guest speaker. I knew who she was, obviously, but I didn't know much about her. But this last month or so, I've been listening to so many of her podcasts and interviews and reading. And she's just absolutely amazing, absolutely fantastic, and I really can't wait to meet her. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great night.
Really
yeah,
I don't know how she fits it all in. We're actually discussing at the moment doing I did a live on seeds, which I think you saw the other day, but with the kind of surplus, because I did as part of Greenfingers fundraising last year and the year before, did a big seed swap, and it was titled the My Real Garden Seed Swap. We raised about £300 or £400 or something. Just from surplus seed packet. We're going to be doing a slightly different thing. I think we might be doing a live together that we'll chat through what our spares are, and we can then offer them. But it's in a different format rather than here's a spreadsheet, pick what you like. But the whole promotion of that was, again, community creation, because it forged people to sort of send a direct message to somebody, perhaps someone they've never corresponded with, saying, you've got that rare seed, have you got any left? And they got to sort of whip up a conversation between each other privately and securely, and off it went. And then there was a suggestion then that the donation would go to Greenfingers in lieu of the postage for the person that was receiving it. That's how it worked. But that was, again, it was spearheaded with Anne-Marie. So she's a really she'll do anything for certainly for that sort of cause, and is a strong ally of supporting people, to reach their best, really.
Yeah, she's definitely a good one. Definitely a good one.
Absolutely. So onwards and upwards, certainly for all of us. For all of us in our respective ventures. We're not going anywhere, I hope.
Definitely not.
I got nowhere else to be.
Oh,
I fit in here. I don't fit in anywhere
well,
else.
you're in your element. You're in your element, so you're very much welcome.
It's the
And Jamie can't go anywhere. Him and I have got compost to convey your message about anyway.
it's the only time of my life my dancing's been accepted.
But that's it, isn't it? It's about, as mentioned earlier, about there is an element of our personalities that we can then go, well, actually, it doesn't matter if I end up doing that, because it's a sort of safe space to you in the sense of when you're recording it. I know there's a hoo-ha sometimes about, it doesn't happen so much on Instagram. It certainly doesn't happen so much in gardening because we're very much by and large generous spirited people, but obviously trolling can be an issue in social media. But the actual doing of what we do in our own spirited style, there doesn't seem to be any. I mean, it just goes out the window. Don't even think about neighbours. I mean, there's been all sorts of videos. There's been videos in my pants in the garden. There's been videos,
I don't even
dancing around. Obviously, there's been videos.
You say that about the neighbours, Chris. There's only one day of the year I am concerned about my neighbours, and that's World Naked Gardening Day. And that day, I've got to admit, I am at the crack of dawn making sure, and I'll have to do the outtakes this year and be like, I'm looking up, everyone's at the curtain shut, let's do it.
We know what's the outtake.
We've got ring devices. They're all watching you.
Yes.
I don't know how I'm going to better it this year. I've got to be honest.
Well, I mean, Kim's finding it amusing on the comments, but I'll go one further. Well, no, I won't go one further in the sense that I've gone further than being in my pants. I mean, we've all probably done it, gone and fetched something out, and I can't be bothered to put some trousers on, have been in underwear, and you need to just nip out the back door and go and fetch, or there might be a plant pot that needs covering. So off I get my slippers on or my gardening boots or something, dependent on the season of the year. And then I just happen to be out, but on the edge of the patio, sorting, let's say it's frosty, or it's freezing, but I need to sort them ranunculus out that I've left out. And I can't be bothered to get properly dressed. So probably the neighbour has seen me sort of, fleecing up these ranunculus whilst not fleecing myself properly. But no,
last year I was stood in my chicken enclosure with nothing but a box of eggs and my son's red wellies.
Chicken,
not the drink. Chicken.
I was glad they didn't pet my pet now, I can tell you.
Oh my God. Poor things. They do like maggots, don't they?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're right, man. No. The rumours are true.
No, Derek's not convinced.
My missus will tell you the same.
I'm a very respectable person, you know.
Oh, definitely.
When he's got his clothes on.
Well, you have to be with all those.
No, but the problem with discussion about these sorts of subject matters is I say them often. I'm so innocent in most cases that I end up saying something that has happened. It's a true story, but I expect it to go no further. And of course, then it blooming doesn't, does it?
I've given up trying to keep anything secret on Instagram anymore.
Well, even on private message, and I'll be public about this because I made a random suggestion that I might not wear anything for the Garden Grand Ball as a sort of jokey comment, and of course everyone ran with that as well. Some sort of reputation. Very smart.
The problem is,
the other night, Jamie, tried it out, got it all sorted. I've been measured the other day.
Saw that, yes.
Hang on.
Very nice.
So you're on about going to the garden ball naked with no clothes on, and you've been measured. Is that another one of those innocent comments, Chris?
Chris,
this is the point.
You can't make it into a competition, you know. This Garden Grand Ball's not a competition.
Mark will stick up with me. I'm excessively literal. He'll know that. Don't you? You'll stick up for me there. Yeah. I can get roped into all sorts of situations. Yeah.
Oh, dearie me.
Shocking.
Oh, I can't wait. Have you got a suit sorted then, Chris?
It's on its way. It's currently being sent by Royal Mail, which means it could arrive at any time.
Or not.
Or late. It could arrive late.
Yeah, well, yeah, any time they choose to sort of open the door, you know. So we'll see. Yeah, it's on its way, and fingers crossed. After much choosing, I did decide to get a new outfit for this one, partly because the other ones aren't fitting so well these days. We'll go through that as well. Well, so, actually, very unhappy with John Lewis. Oh dear, this is going to sort of middle class war now, isn't it? Honestly, their velour button fell off their green velvet jacket that I had. I have no confidence that'll stay on for the night, even if I sew it back on. So we're having something else. Shocking.
Good excuse to get it.
Maybe there'll be somebody who's good at sewing at the Garden Grand Ball, and if they're at a loose end, they might sew it on for me. Do
you think they'll bring a sewing kit with them, just in case?
Well, sounds like the sort of thing Anne-Marie
Hotel will probably have one.
What did you say, Mark? Sounds like what?
Sounds like something Anne-Marie would have in her pocket. She seems like a very resourceful lady.
She got a survival kit.
She's probably got one of those pockets that's got something of everything in it.
Oh, we've all got them.
It is tricky, though. It is tricky. I mean, I'm just seeing some comments about sort of nightmare for getting the outfit arranged. But I mean, I think it's also, I get a bit bamboozled by what I'm looking at, and then I just get sort of, I suppose many of us, particularly as blokes do, I would suggest that we just get bored of looking and half-arsed about it. But I have ordered some of them in the end.
I'm still on.
Not saying any more. There'll be no. There's no sneak peek images of the outfit. That's being kept under reveal.
Not until the night.
But yeah, try not to milk that one with all sorts of tabloid newspaper-esque conspiracy theories.
All I'm saying, mine's not going to be the black one that I was wearing in the ball last weekend.
It's going to be that curly kale one that sort of day.
That's Catherine. That's Catherine's dress. That is.
I reckon you're wearing Teresa's dress that she was wearing the other night, mate.
Why not? I'm a modern man. On my list, just quickly, we've been through most of it. At the top, it says Easton Wall Garden. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, well, absolutely. So I might be in North Nottinghamshire, but I am originally from Lincolnshire. Somebody's got to be. Very proud of being from Lincolnshire. So when I started, I was born in Grantham and lived in a village just north of there. So that's where Easton Wall Gardens is. It sits between Grantham and Stamford in Lincolnshire. And it's been in the same family seat since 1592. The original walled garden that you go in there, quite relatively unique to because not a lot of walled gardens have been fettled with. They're still absolutely beautiful in their own right, but this one largely remains intact since when it was first built. The only exception is that they added 2 towers in the 1700s as a sort of modern addition. So you've got this, you've got the wider estate that the family owns. It's in the seat of the Chumley family, Chumleys, it's not related to any other Chumleys that you might see around the UK, because there's quite a few sort of stately homes that are in that family name. One in Cheshire, I think. Well, there's 2 or 3 in Cheshire. Well, the uniqueness, I'd say, with Easton is that the house actually isn't there anymore. So the house was demolished in the 50s. It was taken over in the Second World War, and it was too badly damaged. It wasn't bombed or anything, but it was used, I think, as a sort of by the army, I think, and the forces, and it was just ruined basically, inside, battered to death basically. And the family made the decision to take it down. But what it means, though, is that the relics of that structure is still there. There's an area where the front door once was. It's marked as such when you walk around the gardens. You've got all the gatehouse, you've got the stables, the courtyard, you've got all of the gates, the elaborate gates, and in the family signatures and so forth. And you've got the terracing. The house stood on a hill, and then you've got these wonderful terraces that drop down to the River Witham, which actually goes right through the middle of the gardens. You've got the original walled garden on one side of the river on an angle, so that's a relatively unique thing as well. It's on a slope, the walled garden. And then facing it on the other side was where the house was, and that's been replaced with a whole series of more ornamental gardens. You've got veg gardens in there. You've got an area called the Pickery, which is basically a cutting garden, but also a veg garden there from where you just pick as you choose. There's a lot of cut flowers that are grown and annuals that are grown at Easton, and veg and salad crops for the family, and they have holiday cottages on there. That's also what the cut flowers are used for. But you've then got, on that ornamental side, you've got more contemporary areas as well, such as a white space garden. There's a woodland walk, but this has got very, very famous for snowdrops. So it's been recommended in the national newspapers, one of the best places in the UK to visit snowdrops. That opens again on Valentine's Day. It's also very famous for sweet peas as well. So a lot of heritage varieties have been cultivated there, and several varieties you will only find there. So they've actually they originate from Easton as a crop. So you can buy Easton sweet peas online. It felt, I've visited the garden for a long time, sort of decade or two during childhood and teenage years, even when I wasn't appreciating a garden, lumbering around as a teenager and sort of thinking, oh, this is quite pretty, but just not got any horticultural interest there. But it increasingly became more interesting as the sort of this arena developed. I just felt that it was and it's promoted as it's right by the A1. You can actually hear the A1 if the wind blows the wrong way, but it doesn't matter. The whole ethos of that garden is just taking yourself away from everything, and it's very romantic, quite blouse. It's very English, and it's very sustainable. You've got roses that are grown in meadows, and the roses that were grown there originally advised by Michael Marriott from David Austin Roses, Michael Rosarian here on Instagram. You couldn't get a more experienced rosarian worldwide to advise on the roses there. But very rarely do you see, and this isn't just coming from a rose buff like me, I'm not sort of blowing the rose trumpet unnecessarily, how unique it is still now in a garden to see roses grown in wildflower grass meadows, huge lofty grasses, and you've got these great big roses that are trained in fountain shapes within the grasses. And then you've got, and they're both shrub roses as well, and climbers and ramblers that are trained in that way. But you've also got wildflower meadows on the terraces down to the river that have gradually developed. This was a garden that was ruined. So the house was taken down in the 50s, but the garden became derelict. And then under the current family, they since 2001 have restored it. So this garden was completely, it was on the verge of complete ruin. It says on the boards when you walk in, if they'd have left it a couple more years or 5 years tops, the whole thing would have been ruined forever, because something just goes so much. And they've gradually, with a lot of support and local support, it's come with they're not gardeners originally by trade, incredibly switched on, very involved in the gardens. The family are very horticulturally switched on in the business side of things. And there's a love there, and I really like working there. I've been on a placement there, which is effectively their own version of a RAGS trainee, the Work and Retrain as a Gardener scheme, but Easton brought it in-house. And I applied, having visited for a long time, and followed them here on social media. They were aware of my social media activities, and I explained, I laid the cards out. I wanted to sort of develop some understanding. I volunteered for some time for National Trust and Private Gardens. I worked at Clumber Park and Wentworth Castle up here, and Renishaw Hall as private gardens, all voluntary basis, and wanted to take that a step further. And they very kindly said yes a couple of days a week, but it's coming to an end. I finish on Friday, very sadly. It is a long way though, it's 100 miles a day I go to Easton from here. to do that full time is very difficult to achieve. But I absolutely adore it there. I love it. I feel completely at ease in even the toughest gardening task that you have no knowledge of doing and you make mistakes on. It doesn't seem to feel a problem doing it at Easton. So I've got a lot to credit the place. And to say that when we were all locked down, we talked about lockdown gardeners, when we were allowed out physically beyond our own area, there was all that sort of situation where you were in tiers. Well, Lincolnshire was a tier that we were able to go to, but irrespective of that, we chose Easton Wall Gardens as the first place outside of home, I suppose, to escape to. Yeah. And I think I've always said, and I've said that to themselves, that that's a marker for me as to how important it is to me. So I've always held it in great high regard. So it couldn't got better. You start your gardening, paid garden work in your home county, near where you grow up, in a place that you feel very. And I would contest. I think for the types of flowers and the type of planting that they have, it is, for me, I'm still one of my favourite places. So I'm very, very fortunate to have worked there.
Isn't there family history as well, Chris? Isn't there family history as well? Didn't your granddad or great-granddad or something?
Well, there is some links there. Yes, that's true, Mark. So my grandfather I'm from farming stock, can you tell? but he, I escaped the. Although I did work for the family business. We have a animal feeds manufacturing place that makes a lot of the arable feed that we grow on the farm goes into that business, and I worked on the shop floor as my first job. And I can drive a forklift truck and a tractor, but that's as far as it really goes. And I've got no problems walking a field full of cattle, unlike some people that have to sort of whimper and go a different route, whereas I'll just get a stick and walk right through them. So that's rural life. That's what it's taught me. But my grandfather had some cattle, I understand, on their estate, which is a nice link. I learned that after I got the job. And then my other grandfather, who's no longer with us, hasn't been for a long time, very close to him, brilliant gardener, and I've come to learn that I must have taken a lot in from him. He rather liked Easton towards it in his advancing years and used to go there. So I quite often in his final years. So it feels a great comfort to be gardening in there and having those attachments, really. And it all feeds into it. It all feeds into the why did you end up wanting to work there and why did you end up choosing to. Yeah, it's been a good year, and it's started. I mean, it would be lovely to stay. I think some of the practicalities are difficult. Some very kind words from members of the team there, and all very welcoming. It's been lovely.
What's after Friday then?
Well, so basically a couple of months after Easter started in when did I start? For February snowdrops last year. I was in another career. I've gone from town planning, of course, and I went part-time several years ago out of choice, and that was when, of course, I suppose I had a bit more time on hands to find something different. I made the choice come last year that I wanted to go full-time, do gardening full stop. And I saw something come up at a charity that's local to me, so I applied for a position with Autism East Midlands to I suppose run their new garden, bring a brand new gardening service in-house. And I went in and had a chat with them. Now, they wanted a full-time position, which I refused. I think, again, such as the credit to give to Easton again, that I said that I want to honour the contract there. I mean, some people would have said, well, you've got this new opportunity down the road and I'll end up taking it. But for me, I was prepared to stick with the 100-mile commute because, again, there's the, you don't want to fob people off situation, but there's two different types of horticultural training. You've got the very switched on garden with really good skilled craft in the way that they garden at Easton. We talked about wall garden being the epitome there. It is a really, they embrace principles of gardening that you see in the very best gardens. Some of those skills I'll never get to use at the Autism East Midlands job, which is not to discredit it in any way. It's just the nature of it. And I knew that, so I felt that a blend of the two initially was useful because it's enrichment for you and how you develop. I'm not fully qualified as a gardener. You may well be very aware of the hoo-ha I've had about qualifications and so forth, and I've had to find a bit of a different path for my circumstances. So, yeah, trying to do a bit of both. I got the position at Autism East Midlands part-time and it's been sort of developing their garden service at the moment. So the intention was always to go full-time there from next month.
Oh, good.
So, I mean, some contractual matters aside, probably need to sign a new contract soon because it'll still say part-time on it. And that's based up, it's headed up here in North Nottinghamshire, but it's all over the East Midlands and they support about 20 different services. So it's day homes, it's respite homes, it's permanent residential homes for largely adults with autism. They also have a school, special educational needs school, and there's also services that are family support hubs, and there's brand new sites in the offing that are yet to go public. You know, so there's quite a big estate there from a gardening point of view. It's quite a daunting task, and it's a new service. So they've never had gardeners, to my knowledge. It's always been kind of maintenance people that have helped out with the gardening side of things. And the gardens themselves have got a lot of potential. So it does need somebody with vigour, and it needs a personality behind it. It needs to have somebody willing to do it. And so I thought that this was a good, opportunity itself. I mean, only today, I say that today's been a very long day, but actually one particular thing that it will probably be published on the social media soon, but I was potting up bulbs, the last bulbs in pots today with one of the service users, and the beaming expression on her face was, you can't measure that unless you're there. Honestly, it's just, I mean, actually, that's what I take from today enormously. And you do learn to put anything that you've got to one side, but you can never share anything. You've just got to be obviously be professional, but you do put everything that's to do with you to one side because it's all for it's person-centered learning basically, and person-centered living, and it's extending the gardening service into that capacity really for the first time. And that is really the hook that drew me in. I've always had this position alongside any job that I do. It doesn't matter whether it's gardening or something else, but there's always been some sort of volunteer or advocacy bit on the side, and this was a good way to really, I suppose, be paid to do that really, whilst developing. I'll be learning on my way as a gardener too. There'll be loads of things that the residents themselves will tell me. And what's been lovely then, there's been a social conversation that's come out of it. Service user in particular, I've learned that her dad, who's no longer with us, had an allotment, and we've had a massive discussion about the plants that were raised on that allotment, and it's been great. That person is now feeding the knowledge that I need to have for the job.
Nice.
Yeah, fantastic.
So that's good, but totally different from the wall garden, where largely the interaction is by and large with the public, probably at the most, really, on that sort of general, what's this plant, how many gardens do you have, where's the toilets, where's the cafe sort of level of conversation. Or you're having to justify because it looks like you're spraying your sweet peas with this horrendous pesticide chemical, and it isn't. It's plant-based something, but you have to educate members of the public in that respect, because you don't want them walking off tittle-tattling that Easton's still spraying, for example, which they don't. But it's that kind of level of conversation that you'd be used to in a wall garden. Whereas this one it's a lot more personal, it's a lot more intimate, and I don't mean that in a very sort of weird way. I mean that in a nice way, and that you're having that
connection with people.
It's treasured. You can't bottle that. You just got to be you've got to be there to really appreciate that.
Well, you'll be so rewarded seeing that smile on her face today. Just must be amazing.
Well,
you'll be helping.
To my knowledge, whilst there are planters outside that are pretty much dead and decrepit, I have got the understanding that there's been very little gardening done on that site before. So you know that in some respects there's progress being made there. There's willing choices through the types of land. You have to be, as you can imagine, with autistic spectrum conditions and associated ones, it's a total. I mean, I have to do this anyway, being on the spectrum. But social engineering, I'm having to social engineer my language, let alone anybody else having to do that to me. It's a whole. You're always on your feet with it, but it doesn't feel bad having to do that, because you know what that end goal is. It's that you're always seeking to find ways of. It's a facilitating job. You're finding ways of enabling that individual to enjoy the same rights of life that we have, by and large, just through a little bit of tweaking now and then. And in the gardening sphere, it's finding unconventional ways of getting them into gardening. So in one particular case, it was a discussion about the B&Q paint chart and the Dulux colour chart that led to the choices of plants that being made for the garden, because then off I went to research plants in that colour tone, put them together in a portfolio, and then we had a chat over a cup of tea. It was sent to that resident, and they all triggered a whole sphere of discussion, excitement, anticipation, blah, 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 all those emotions that we all go through. But actually that particular individual struggled to regulate those emotions, either by didn't experience them at all, or it was so erratic that, of course, some individuals, it's very black and white in those emotions, and it goes from all to nothing. But it triggered a whole new series of emotions in that person that even the staff had not seen. So it's finding those sort of relatively tenuous links, but forging it into something that works.
I love it.
And I find that great. So I'll keep hold on to that, because it's obviously I find it tough anyway. I have my moments quite often, but whenever I do, I think this helps enormously. That sort of moment, think, well, actually, I'm not doing that bad really, and they're not either. They're doing a wonderful job in their own right. And it's lovely to be part of it.
Sounds amazing. You're lucky to be able to do it. I think it's really nice.
It's nice thank you. I mean, it's nice to be part of it. And I think I still love my heritage. I love the walled garden context and anything that comes with that. I love the idea of concept design. Like I said, being out and about and actually implementing that is the preference, rather than sat on a computer designing a garden. I love drawing, but I wouldn't want to be completely in the drawing studio all day and drive me bonkers. I have to go in with the soil sometimes, but we'll see. Who knows? I think like I posted, who knows? Let's see how the year pans out.
Good luck with that, Chris.
Yeah,
thank you.
It sounds fantastic. I think what we need to do is in the summer maybe get a meeting up at Easton, because it's not that far from me really. Once I get to Peterborough, I'm not far.
No,
we could.
And it is very. I mean, I mentioned snowdrops and sweet peas, and I'd be happy to give you a tour around. Saves the gardeners a job, because I won't be employed by them then.
You'll take your cap off at the end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Get your copper. But it's very, some very unusual species there. Some lovely specimen trees. But I mentioned, about the pickery, for example, and the cottage garden. There's some really exquisite plant and quite hard work plants that are being grown there regularly. And what is quite a tricky environment, I'm not even mentioning the soil conditions. It's on limestone, it's alkaline, it's a frost pocket. Across a large part of the garden, the soil was very, very thin and has had to be improved. I mean, the limestone is why the wildflowers do so well, because it's quite poor in many respects. So the garden's been used to that advantage. We had pictorial meadows this year when we had lawn chafer grubs. We always try to find opportunities out of gardening mishaps, as it were, that fits in with the ethos of the garden. The pictorial meadows have obviously got that blousy meadow effect that the conventional native meadows have. It's just that they're longer lasting, and not specifically always wildflowers that go in there, but it has a very similar effect. And that's quite clever. There's some beautiful colour combinations, lots of roses, of course, that I mentioned, and also bee orchids in the grasses.
Wow.
Yeah, plenty to see. Even as a visitor of some 15 years or so, haven't been coming regularly midsummer, so there's lots of plants that in working there were a surprise.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to definitely get something booked in. We can all go and meet up there. Be good, really good. Right, Chris. I'm very wary that we've been on for an hour and 20 minutes, even though I'd like to listen to you for hours more. Very interesting.
Lovely to chat back in the three of you.
We'll have to get you back in the summer, Chris, so you can actually give us a tour of your garden.
Yeah. So we can go through. Go through your garden gate.
Yeah, that would be lovely. I'm welcome to that. No problem.
Yeah, fantastic.
I might even
I'll see you. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I know. Well, actually, Mark's. Did you see I think it was dark when you picked me up.
Yeah, it's dark at the beginning and dark at the end.
Mark has got as far as the driveway.
Not through the garden.
And even on the driveway, there's about 65 roses just planted there. Ridiculous.
Wow. Well, can't wait for the summer then. Have a look at it properly.
All right. Yeah, hold me to that. It's great. Lovely to chat to you, and I'll see you at the press event, and if not, Garden Gramble.
Take care.
Thanks so much, Chris. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks everyone for joining tonight as well on the live.
Cheers, Chris. Bye.
God.
I couldn't see him. I couldn't see him the whole time, so.
You couldn't see Chris either.
So I didn't know. No, I couldn't see either of you.
What?
I could only see. I just been staring into Jamie's eyes.
I thought you looked a bit glazed at one point.
Well, I'm also a bit wary that my greenhouse is shifting and moving. I don't know if you can hear the wind or anything, but
it sounds like your greenhouse is coming down around your ears.
You can see like this bit here keeps going mad.
Yeah, it keeps flapping.
Yeah. So, yeah, a bit of a bizarre one, but yeah, it's weird because I'm just listening to like Chris for ages. I can't see him.
I can see him.
I wonder why it's you.
I can watch it back and I can see everybody. If anyone knows why I can only see Jamie, let me know. Because any tech guys, because I'd love to actually do this and see everybody involved, even Mark.
Yeah. It's really strange, isn't it? Yeah, that's the thing. You unrestrict us, Ben. Unrestrict everybody.
It's probably something like that.
It probably is. I bet it is. Yeah.
Terry reckons you've rigged it.
Of course I have. I only want Ben needs to look at me, nobody else.
Jamie had have it, so he was in every square.
Yeah. I'm gonna have four phones sitting here.
Well spot.
I've got my private pictures in me, but
Ben won't be able to see, but I'm pointing to a wool bee.
A woolen bee.
I think bee garden John's mum.
In your trill bee.
It's been in there since I went to Tatton Park.
Oh.
That was nice. It was good. It was a good chat.
It was good. Very nice. Yeah.
Very good.
So
have we got an announcement? Have we got an announcement tonight, Mark?
We have got an
announcement. We have, Mark, haven't we?
Hopefully, it will go live tomorrow at 7:30 if I've done it correctly.
Ooh.
Oh, have you queued it all up? Ready, have you?
Yeah. So we are turning this into a podcast, and our trailer will launch tomorrow at 7:30, hopefully on all good podcast platforms. Fingers crossed.
So we will obviously advertise in it.
And from the trailer, guys, Mark has done. But I tell you, it is hilarious.
It's really
if you've ever seen a 5-minute snip of what we're like. That's it.
God.
It's brilliant.
It's funny.
When you showed us earlier, I was loving it.
It is good.
He's done well.
At least listen to that one, please.
Yeah. Yeah, please.
Well,
If not, I'll be sharing it as a reel every day.
What are they saying back down there? What's Kim say?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't looked.
Are you organising
the
ball?
ball? No. We're not. He is. Apparently, he's doing all the work as well. He tells us all the time. So.
Everything.
He says these are two others that are just, they turn up now and then.
But I do just want to quickly say that Catherine and I are on five. What's it called? Live for Five.
Kim's live for Five. Live for Five.
Some woman.
Live
at 7 at 5. 5 to 7. I can't remember what it's called. But we're doing something at 7 o'clock tomorrow night.
Is there another announcement?
I don't know.
Tomorrow's
announcement. Kim, have we got? Oh God, have I missed something?
Just live for 5.
Live for 5. That's it. Live for 5. But it's really live. Oh, I'll get you. Thursday night, 7 o'clock. Me and Catherine. We're just going to be talking ball.
You're not
Standard.
Ball, not bull.
Oh, I had to get that one. I couldn't believe you just let that one go.
I know. Just as I said it, I thought, oh God.
Well, it's Thursday.
Someone's going to pick up on that one.
Not tomorrow, Jamie. It's Thursday. It's Wednesday.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Is it?
I mean, you'll be sat there waiting for a while, mate. But
what the hell? I would have been sitting here.
Tell him.
Read the...
Kathy's shouting at me. Kathy, don't shout at me.
Brilliant.
Oh dear. I did not. I thought it was tomorrow. That's because she never picked a day. She goes Wednesdays, Thursdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. She's all over the place. Tuesdays. Yeah, she's even done that once.
Trying to steal off them.
Oh,
right.
Awesome. Yes. I shall catch
Wicked
you all
boys.
next week.
Will do.
Yep, we'll be back with another guest.
Yes.
Look out for our podcast. We will be advertising.
Follow
tomorrow.
through the Garden Gate podcast as well. I'm sure Mark will tag or collaborate this with them or whatever. So
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah, we've got our own account if you haven't seen it already.
See you, Kerry.
Night, everybody.
See you later, guys.
Night, Kerry.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.